Good
Welcome,
afternoon. Good
welcome.
afternoon. Welcome to Life Off the Bench, where we talk about real life issues with real life people to try to give you real life show for you today. Great show lined up for you today. Our topic for today is again, we're here at Life Off the Bench. We're big on mental health and we're also big on matters of the heart. Matters of the heart matter because you matter. And without you, where will we be? I'm gonna say that again because I know some of y'all did not catch that. But without you, where will we be? Each individual person brings something unique to the table in reference and relations to love. Everybody wants to be loved. I think it's just about how each person wants to be loved. I think that's it. Not that smart, so I don't really know. No matter what I tell Chad and the Chief, I get lucky at the light a lot. Joining us for tonight's broadcast, our regular guest panelists. Anise is in the top center. Her love of her life is to her immediate left. Alfred, welcome. At the bottom left, we have Chad. And last but certainly not least, one of my favorite people that God ever created. Uh, Hi, April. Also, tonight's show belongs to April. She'll be hosting the show. Anise and I, we'll do what we need to do to help out with tonight's show. But tonight's show is how does love go sour? And we've all been there. We've all been in love at one point or another in our life and thought that we had found the best thing since sliced bread. Who gonna tell a lie and say they had? I don't want you to be lying on air. Don't lie. Don't lie to me. We all been there. But as I said, who's gonna be honest enough to tell the truth? Because that's what heals the heart. Truth heals the heart. And then you gotta do this thing called leading with love. So I'm gonna turn the mic over to our host for tonight's show. Please uh clap it up for our host for tonight's show, April Grayson.
All right. What's up? What's up, Life Off the Bench family? It's another night with us, your panelists, and we are here to talk about love. What is love? Tina Turner said, what does love have to do with it? And in this day and time, love seems to be everything. So we want to help everybody get to a place and a point where they understand what love truly is. We all have our definitions of what we think love is, what love is as it applies to us, and how we should love others. And it wouldn't be April if April didn't talk about the biblical aspect of love. John 3:16, our model scripture for love says that for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever believeth in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. That's ultimate love. He loved us so much that he gave his life. So how many of y'all would say that y'all love somebody so much that you would be willing to give your life? Alfred, you married to a niece. You willing to give up your life for her? Don't answer that.
Oh,
Oh, he said, yeah, niece, so he in good graces.
Absolutely. I agree.
absolutely.
I would
Chad, you willing to give up your life for Miss Wilson? Chad had to think about it. He gonna be in the doghouse after
oh, did
tonight.
he freeze? I think he froze. Don't do that. He froze. He froze.
He froze. He froze. He froze. So even in the biblical aspect, there's different types of love. Eros, storge, phileos. I think I'm missing one. Help
Agape.
me out. Agape love. Why did I forget that one? that the Bible talks about. So there are different ways that we can love. And I want to talk a little bit about love before we talk about the downslide of it. How does it go sour? What does love mean to you? What does love mean to you? Anise.
How did I know? How did I know? How did I know?
Because women tend to love differently than men, right or wrong.
I disagree.
Whoa, whoa.
I
Time
believe that
out. Time out. I'm gonna need
I'm
you to
asking a
retract
question.
that statement. I'm gonna need you to
That
retract
wasn't a
that
statement.
statement.
That was a question. I'm sorry. Do women tend to
Okay,
love
I'll
differently
live with
than
that.
men?
she said, do women and men love differently?
Right. That's a
Right?
question.
That's what I understood. Right?
Yeah, not my statement.
Right,
It's a
right, right.
question.
So I disagree. I believe that any human that loves from a tender spot. And the difference is how we have been conditioned and trained to display our love is what society tends to label men showing love and women showing love. And so I believe that all people show their love differently because you can find men that show their love that's similar to women and women that show their love that's similar to men, but it's still all love. So when you ask the question, what does love mean to me? Love is about an exchange of of emotions, an exchange of life feelings, an exchange of cheerleading. Um, and I speak from a place of being all in, a place of the different types of love that we have. So when you ask about love, are you speaking of a specific love, a relationship love, a parental love? What kind of love is there? Are there any boundaries on this parameter or?
It's no boundaries because that's why I proceeded with what does love mean to you? Because everybody has a different viewpoint of what
Oh,
love is. And
oh
it
my,
depends on what place they're at in their lives as well.
ab-
So if you're in a relationship, that's where we get the googly eye love, the mushy, melty feeling love. If it's a sibling love, like him up there, I love him today, tomorrow, he getting on my nerves, but I still love him. Um, if it's a friendship type of love, that's some of them can be stronger than others because some of those can be like sibling love, depending on the friend. Um, I want to, we since we're talking about relationships, let's kind of curtail it to the relationship aspect.
okay.
Um,
Well, my love is the unconditional love. There are no
mhm.
conditions. So, but there are boundaries that one can cross to no longer receive it. But we stand on the upswing of it. So I don't even look that far because I'm not Miss Cleo. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't prepare myself. I don't look for, oh my God, gloom and doom and bloom. I try to stay, and I am learning to pull myself back and stay in the moment, but it's unconditional. There's nothing that I would not do for you, with you, because of my love for you. First, as a child of the King, and second, because we're in relationship. So him down there, you see him down there. There isn't a
Mhm.
thing that I would not do. There's a thing that I would do that's outside of illegal, immoral, and any of those things. But because he loves me, he wouldn't ask those things of me. You understand? Love is
Exactly.
respect, love is honorable, love is all those things. So I can keep going on and on and on and on and on. But love is unconditional. That's my love.
Okay.
And so I love
Alfred,
hard, I love deep.
we heard from your love. What does love mean to you?
Um, I like to think that the unconditional part would be basically part of everyone's love, and I really agree wholeheartedly when she says that. My wife says that you know when you love someone, you don't put them in situations that will be compromising for them or their love for you. So I fully think that love for me is, is like you said in the Bible, treat others, think about others and treat others the way you would have them to treat you or to think about you. You know what I mean? So before I would commit or do something alone by myself, I would suggest that you think about how would this affect or look to my partner, you know. So I'd say take that time out to think about how your actions affect someone else's life or your loved one's life. That would be mine.
I'm almost afraid to ask our moderator because he got that look on his face like, see, so far our two panelists that are married and Chad, who is in the comments, he said it's how you treat the other person, the conditional state. See, we all in agreement, love is unconditional. That's the church in us, Hobart would say. What you got to say, moderator Grayson?
Hey, so I agree, man. Facts. Love is agape love. For me, I think I love too hard. Like, especially if I'm digging you, oh my Lord, I'm just and believe it or not, I'm a sucker for love. Like, love means the world to me. Being in love means the world to me. I especially love being around people that's in love with one another. I got to have the perfect example of our grandparents. They were married forever, and most of the times when people get a divorce or go through a divorce, um, it's forever. They loved each other so much they got married twice, and and,
Ha!
and, and so I understood that love was very important from a very young age. Watching my mother's parents. Um, my grandmother was a very virtuous woman, um, very very strong, very opinionated, and I'm probably a shell of my grandfather. He was quiet and reserved, but tough and strong, and worked his can off. So at the end of the day, you know, we are who we see in our everyday lives growing up. That's how we learn to love. That's how we learn to. I hate to say it, but we learn hate from the same place that we learn love, and so that's why it's extremely important that you put good stuff into the people that are in your care, because you're not just raising kids, you're raising adults in the process of them being kids. So, like the Alfred and Anise said, and April and Chad, um, love is just great. Muted, you're muted.
Love is an awesome thing in the right context, and we know sometimes people take love outside of that context, and that's where I think the beginning of the sourness in the relationship starts. Because we can abuse any good thing can become a bad thing, and too much of a good thing is an even worse thing. Um, in
Are
this
we going
thing,
to the sour already?
huh?
Are we going to the sour already?
No, we ain't going to the sour
Oh,
already. Um, y'all in love on here. I can't take that away from y'all. I love love. Love is real. I will tell you, I've been married twice, and both times I felt like I was in love and I loved the person that I was married to. It just didn't work out in the end because of whatever went on in that relationship. Do I believe in love wholeheartedly? Do I believe that there's someone to love for everybody? 100%. Um, you just have to find the person whose soul matches your soul, who makes your heart smile. Um, And what that looks like for one person is not necessarily what it looks like for another person. Hober says something keen, that generally we learn how to love based on what we've seen in our parents, our grandparents, or in other relationships. My grandparents were funny too. My granddad was an early riser. My grandmother was not. I remember he got up one morning. He thought he was doing something good. He was gonna fix her breakfast at 4:30 in the morning. She was like, "I don't know who that breakfast for, but it ain't for me. Need to find something else." I was like, "Mama, that was so mean of you," you know. And so for somebody else, that might have been the perfect opportunity. Anise may like flowers, but it's important that Alfred knows what type of flowers Anise likes. He come in there with some little wilted dandelions, she might be upset.
She'll love
Um,
those too.
so it's in loving, it's important that we know what they call the 5 languages of love. Alfred, I'm about to put you on the spot. You the only one on here married. Do you know Anise's love language?
Oh, we've talked about that on different occasions. Now, I actually just work off my instincts and what I know about her. That's about it. Yeah.
So tell me, Alfred, what you know about Anise?
I know that Anise is intense about something that she's into, or that has a lot of. She has a lot of energy for the humans, for human beings in general, and she's big about wanting to see people happy, wanting to see people doing well. Um, she's very, very much the motherly type. You know, she wants the mother and see that everyone that she crosses come or feel better after meeting her, man. You know, than they were before she met him. So I know that she have a high uh, energy for people she do love, and sometimes I have to talk to her about, you know, when to cut people off, when to cut that connection off, or look at it a different way. Yeah. So I know that she's had struggles in her life. I know that she's overcome a lot of things, and I know that she continually look for ways to improve herself in situations. I know that she supports the family with all her energies and any way she can. So she's very much the wifely type, and I really love her for that, and that she's always there in your corner.
See, you know a lot about Anise.
Yeah.
That's
Woo!
like a memorial. I'm like, who's
Okay.
this? Is that a memorial or a tribute? Which one? Hey.
Okay.
So what's my
So
love language? What's your instinct tell you? I'm sorry. That was the other part of the question.
Oh, I told her I don't do. I just go by my instincts.
All right. And they work wonderfully. I got flowers in a balloon last night when he got an elevation.
okay. So welcome, Coach E. Welcome.
Yo,
We talking about love. Coach E
perfect
married
timing.
too.
Perfect timing.
Coach
What-
posted all them pictures of him and his wife on Facebook.
Right,
Hey.
Coach he's affectionate. That must be
Hey.
Coach's love language.
Perfect
He
time.
Yeah.
Perfect time. Yeah.
What's Miss Hamilton's love language, Coach?
Quality time. And we just went walking, and
Okay.
that was our talk time. So, like I said, I told her, I said, when I get on the show, I'm gonna talk about you. We both took a nap and woke up. She's like, we still gonna walk? I said, well, back at the show at 7 o'clock. Say, I just need 30 minutes. Be gone, get up.
That's all. So, Coach, what does love mean to you? We talked about what love means to us. What does love mean to you?
Well, when I think about, who the ultimate giver is Christ. I think the love is given. And like I said, so when because like now we're in the era now, we know what the 5 love languages are. We didn't know that over time, so we had to figure it out on our own. But it's giving. Whatever that person needs is giving, and being willing to give, not just when you feel like it, because Lord knows, Brother Carl, you don't always feel like it. But that's when you know that you're showing love, and that's when they know that you're giving it to them. It's because sometimes it takes you out of your comfort zone.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Love will definitely take you outside of your comfort zone. Love will have you doing stuff that you thought you would never do. Look, oh man, let me not even go there. Love. So one of my mottos is I treat people how I want to be treated, and it's not contingent on how they treat me. And that really goes towards love. I can forgive a person, and you be like, "How you still dealing with that person? They did da 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 da." That's because the love I have inside of me. It allows me to forgive. It doesn't say I forget because I'm still human, but it allows me to move in a different direction with you as a person and still love you. I can still talk to you, and I'm not going to be angry or be grudging against you. Love is, in the words of Madea from Tyler Perry, love is a drug within itself. And it will have you doing some of the craziest things, like Eddie just said. It's not contingent on when you want to do it, if you feel like doing it. You may be dating somebody, you love to go to the movies, they don't want to go to the movies because when I go to the movies, it makes me sleep. Well, I'm gonna go with you because I love you. I don't want to watch sports. I don't even know what's going on, but guess what? I'm gonna sit there and watch sports with you because I love you. And I'm gonna act just as enthusiastic as you are. Love is a give and take situation. And that's when it works at its best. You give some, you take some, give some, you take some. How can we, my words, how can we manage this thing called love?
Pick me.
Go for it.
How do we manage it? It's not ours to manage. Love is a gift. It moves within your spirit. So in terms of managing it, it's about allowing it to do what it does. And if I give my love to you and you do something wrong, and you just said a key, and it was confirmation someone spoke into me today, is you may not do it right, but I will continue to love on you, in you, through you, all those things, but I'm going to move different with you next time coming up. So when you talk about managing love, do you really want to regulate something that's freely given to you? How is it that you're going to issue something out to someone else when God poured it on us so freely? Just think if he managed it and poured only a little bit this time and you felt like you needed more, or he only gave you this bit when you needed more. No, it doesn't work like that. You give it freely because it's not yours to hold on to. When you balled your hands up, this my love. And so if I balled my hands up with my love like this, how can I get any more from the Father? Come on, somebody, that'll preach.
Okay. Don't start nothing, Denise, and it won't be none today. Hope to have to shut the show down.
Talk about managing, and that's where, I sometimes am befuddled. I'll use that word. I'm sometimes befuddled when people And we all have experienced, and we've said that before, have been in relationships where we've been hurt, truly hurt to our core. And I think that's not because we tried to manage love, but we tried to manage the people.
Mhm.
And it's one thing to try to manage love because you can't do that. But to manage people, they're not yours to manage. So how can you manage another person? You cannot. You can only manage yourself. So if I freely give away love, I'm going to receive love. It may not be from you, but I'm receiving from over here. And it may be the love that I need for when I need, how I need. Because when love comes like that when it's meant for you. But what happens is we try to get ahead of the ball and manage it by picking and choosing. Come on, somebody. I'm preaching today. Come on. I feel my help coming. But
Okay.
what happens is we make choices. So when we make our own choice is when that's that sour part, but we haven't gotten to that. So I'm going to back up off of that. But when we allow God to give us what's due for us, then it's a horse of a different color.
Okay. She said a lot right there. We just need to pass the collection plate.
Hey!
Take up
Nah,
offering.
I think you can go back to where you said.
What's your preaching key? A flat, C sharp. What's your key?
I got a deep voice. Yeah.
What was that after you said go back to what?
Oh no, I was just saying that when you brought it up about it being like a drug, so you can't regulate it, and I know we see that a lot of times where we wonder, and like why did this person accept all of this from another person? It's because they can't regulate it, because they can't turn it off when they wanted to or need to, not want to, but when they need to.
According to you, though.
No, not according to me. That's the reason we have people who do the things that they do is because they can't control, they can't turn it off. You see people actually go to the extremes where they'll actually kill each other. You have domestic violence because that person in his mind or their mind is so in love with that person that they'll go to that extreme because they can't just turn off. Hey, well, she don't love me or he don't love me, and I'm gonna go somewhere else. A lot of
Or they
people
don't realize the unhealthy
like you
aspects.
said, it's a innate human thing, And when you feel like you're not going to be able to find that feeling somewhere else, then you feel like then your life is not worth going any further because you need that person but you convince yourself that you need that person, and that person is the only one to make you feel the way you're feeling for them. Even though you're out doing stupid stuff yourself, you may be the one that's out doing the breaking the rules of the relationship, but yet you still feel like that person should still love you the way you feel love them. So it's a strange thing that and like April said, it's like a drug. You see people on drugs and you be like, dang, I know I've asked that question plenty of times. How does that little cigarette or that little piece of grass or weed or how does that little powder control a person with a brain? You know what I mean? This person has a brain, and this is a leaf or plant that's got control over them. But they love is in that doing whatever it is they doing, and it makes it however it makes them feel. So it's a very tricky thing. It's a very powerful thing.
When we talk about love, we focus a lot on the feminine aspect of love because most times people say it's that's a woman thing.
Her feminine wild. She's using her feminine wild on you.
Yeah. They look at that as if women are more in love than men, or they fall in love easier than men. Annette, not Annette, Anise already said earlier she didn't think that was a true statement, and I agree with. I don't think that's a true statement either. Coach E, what do you say? Are women more apt to fall in love than a man, or express that love more
Well,
so than a man?
well, the thing about it is that we've been the word I'm trying to use here, conditioned
Mm-hmm.
in our culture to see and feel and understand things in a way that is not designed by God. And
Mm.
so I'm gonna go further and say we use the term fall in love,
Hmm.
and the truth, I don't believe in that because when I go to the ultimate, because I got to talk about what I know and what we've been taught. When we go to the ultimate showcase of love,
Mm.
you got to think about it. Jesus Christ
Mm.
looks at his dad and chooses to look here. I'll go down. I'll die for these folks that don't care nothing about you. It was a choice.
Right.
He made a conscious decision that this was necessary, that I give up my life in order for them to have a relationship with God the Father. So now, and I know Miss Anise, Pastor Collier, you already know Ephesians chapter 5.
Okay.
Ephesians chapter 5, that whole, when you go there, the part for me, y'all, that growing up in the Pentecostal Church of God in Christ that I never heard, not trying to talk about nobody, I got to tell y'all, I never heard 5:21. Submitting yourselves one to another in the fear of God. I didn't hear that. I didn't hear that until after I got married. It was always wives submit to the husband. It
And the
says
verse before
submitting
that.
exactly, submit one to another. But then when you read that whole section of scripture, it talks about the husband loving the wife, and at the very end it says, "And she will reverence her husband."
Yeah.
So the thing about it is the act itself. I am supposed to lay down my life. Everything that I do, my motivation for my career and all the things I want to do in my life, none of that matters if I'm not doing it for the one that I love. And so
So
with that being said, is that I feel like that women's innate nature is to look like they. It's, y'all look, y'all do it. It's y'all know how to. It's what y'all do. Y'all know how to give yourself. That's not something that it's difficult for you all to do, in my opinion. I feel like women have a nature. Look, you look that man, whatever way she can, she'll back you up. It's us men are the ones that have over time we had to grow in our role and understand it, because for so long, y'all remember, it was husband go to work, make the money, make sure there's food in the house. That ain't enough. Now we're learning about being emotional, being able to have conversations, listening, really being invested in rearing the kids. It's not just go to work and bring home the money.
I ain't say that. Eddie said that, y'all. Coach Eddie said
But
that.
you know I have something to say, don't you? You know
And
I
so,
called up
what
because you
sort of
are the
go ahead,
most emotional creatures.
Yes,
say it
Men
we
are
again.
are.
men are the most emotional creatures, more emotional than women. Because of the simple fact is that you have all these emotions, but you don't know how to display them properly. Don't
Right.
look at me in that tone of voice, Hobart. Don't look at me in
Uh-oh.
that tone.
You better
Don't look at me
listen.
in that voice.
Listen,
Because
brother.
what you don't have a medium or a modicum. And I'm generalizing. This is Anise speaking.
Hmm.
Because what happened, I'm speaking in my experience and my behavior,
Hmm.
in my experiences rather, is that there is a scale anywhere because it hasn't been modeled often enough.
Right.
And that is you go from being calm and taking everything in and being tough and don't cry, and then you go to 1,000.
Right.
Where's this part? All those 50 shades of gray.
Hmm.
You know, I'm not talking about the back room with the clock doors and all the whips and chains. I'm talking
Yep.
about for real, for real. I'm talking
Right.
about the fact that you are emotional creatures, everything that you have, because when he blew the breath of life in us, He made us living creatures. He had different assignments, but we were living creatures to feel in the very nature of God. And everything that God has, we are. So therefore, you are already emotional creatures. Y'all
Right.
just don't know what to do with y'all little emotions and don't know what to say. So y'all pout and tout in different ways than we do.
Well, and everything you saying, I agree 100%. I use my own self for example. It's because of, like I said, how we've been conditioned. How we've been conditioned to believe that we're supposed to be tough, hold everything in. We don't respond. Like right now, I have a son that's 9 years old, and for him, my wife and I together, we are helping him to cope with the emotions that he has. You see what I'm saying? Because for me, it was, boy, stop crying, which probably was the same thing for most of all of us men on here. Boy, shut up, stop crying. We don't cry. Well, we're helping him to talk through what he's feeling as a 9-year-old boy that's growing. So he's talking to a male figure, his own father, about his feelings and how he feels about things and how to process them. So there's nothing wrong with it. It's just we just teach him, son, but you don't stay in this moment for days and days and days at a time. It's okay for your feelings to be hurt. It's okay for you to be sad. It's okay. But I'm trying to teach him how to make sure he copes through, because that's what we don't get, as men, for those of us that's at this point in life, we didn't see that. We didn't get that at all. You know what I'm saying? So now when we get a wife, we don't know how to communicate. We don't know how to talk about what we feel because we try to hold everything in and be tough. But that's not how we were designed. And so these are the things that when you just read 1 Corinthians 13 and Ephesians chapter 5, it gives you a blueprint. It's right there for us. And it's way more scripture than that, but those are just two of the ones that we have talked through a lot in some of our meetings that we have at our church. But the bottom line is you're right, Pastor Carl. We are emotional. We don't know how. We don't have examples of how we deal with it. And a lot of men are raised by their moms. A lot of men in powerful positions have been raised by their moms, and then now they're trying to teach other men. But like I said, we do handle things a little different. But the thing is, we don't have to handle things different because God gave us all emotions. We just got to learn how to deal with them. And like I said, if we base our lives off the truth, then we'll learn how to deal with some things better. But
now you're talking about it. Talking about it.
It looks like that one in that top corner has.
I'm gonna let him say his words or two.
Off of mute, Hobart. Get off of mute. You end up texting somebody. Get off that phone.
Say, yo, Jiggy, if we gonna spend time, let's talk about it.
Say what we're not gonna do. What we're not gonna do is act like men don't have heart. That's what we're not gonna do.
We just said that.
My turn. We're not gonna act like men don't have hearts. We're not gonna act like men aren't men still. Some of us men still know how to love. Now, again, I'm working on being better at loving people in their love language, because I just love. I didn't really care about a love language and all that crap. It didn't mean nothing to me. I just knew the one agape love and let that be your guide, but that's not what the world is today. And again, and this is just my backwards, Monroe, Louisiana, Tanglewood, Barrington Drive, brought up self.
I'm not gonna let him put all that on our neighborhood and what we grew up from, because I had all that love.
The first girl I really dated, it wasn't no love me like, it was just, hey, show me you love me. And so that's what I went with. But that ain't the move anymore. Like, you got to add a crossover and a double dribble to your game now. I mean, crossover and no double dribble. See that? Y'all weren't even listening.
Not so much.
But you got to be able to cross over.
Yes, you did. You said crossover, double dribble. But if you have to do all that, then that person is not the one that God sent for you.
But
because
again,
you don't have to do all that. It's very simple. You speak it, and that
I'm trying to figure this out, because for me, love is just one thing. I love you. I love everything about you, good, bad, and indifferent. Because every person isn't going to be perfect. We weren't created to be perfect. We were created to love. And so in the process of that, all this, some dude who thought he was really doggone smart said, "Oh, I'm gonna create 5 love languages and see if the people pick up on it." What the hell does act of service got to do with loving somebody?
Okay, so
Isn't
let's
that
go
the
back.
same thing? Isn't that the same thing as spending quality time with someone?
No,
All I'm
hey.
doing is asking the question.
Okay, so let me reflect you back, because you talk about this guy that came up with these 5 love languages. Every word that is breathed and spoken is God inspired. God initially started. That's why I initially said there is agape love, there's phileo love, there's eros love, and then there's
But we're not talking about those loves right now.
But that's where it all comes from.
We're talking about the 5 love languages that Gary Chapman put out.
Darling, let me do like the kids. Colbert, those are the 5 love languages. God
That's
gave
where they
us.
evolved from.
I just felt like I was in 3rd grade again.
No. All he did was put the words to it. But those are the same things that God gave us, what your sister said.
And,
Those are the same
Gary Chapman started this foolishness and
whose show is this?
changed the process.
Time out. Whose show is this?
Whose
show is
this is your show tonight, baby.
Okay, so let's bring some order to this show, because we're not gonna yell and scream tonight when we talking about love, because we're gonna help some folks understand this thing called love. So love, agape, is servitude, it's giving, it's time, it's talent, it's taking more than you willing to give somebody else, or more than they willing to give you. When he talks about servitude, affection, I can't even think of all 5 of them now, but put them on the screen so the people can see them too, because I want them to know them, the 5 love languages. We are all talking about what God inspired: words of affirmation, acts of service, physical touch, receiving gifts. Everybody like all this stuff. It don't matter where you come from, who you are. You all like all this stuff. And this is what Jesus talked about. When Jesus went to teach the people, he was doing service work. He didn't even say, "Hey, y'all come over here." It said he went, he posted up, and he began to teach, and the people came. You know why they came? Because they were attracted to the gifts that were inside of him. The quality time, the receiving, the words, the acts, the physical touch. All that is biblical. And when we try to take these things out of the concept and constraints in which they were put in, then we cause issues in loving somebody, or showing somebody how to love us, or even us loving them. Come on, Chad. We ain't heard from you tonight.
We say this every week in church. The Bible says, "For God so loved the world that He gave." So giving is, I feel like, is the one of the most expressive ways of love. All right, giving, because God gave to us so that we might live, so that we can spend quality time, so that we can receive gifts, so that we can give words of affirmation, so that we can be of service. Jesus washed the feet of the disciples. That's service.
Physical touch as well.
Right, as physical touch as well. So, and a lot of times we show love and we don't even know that we're doing it, because, especially Hope, you talk about, but you love children. So you give them your time and your talents.
We were just
all the time. And it's not about the money.
What you got to say, big fella? Acts of service and quality time.
So, and you give.
You ask me a question, you gonna let me answer it?
Go ahead.
Come on, ask me a question, you gonna let me answer it?
Go ahead.
Acts of service and quality time are the same thing.
Example. Give an example. Because you remember, it's a book. It's a book to this that there are notes to that we don't have all the details with us. It ain't just words. So you give an example.
From 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 5, 5 out of 5 miles said that because I love children and I give my time freely to children without the care of money, That's an active service and quality time. Didn't you guys just say that?
Yeah.
That's
Same
correct.
thing. So if my understanding works, and I think it still works pretty good, how about I just love you? How about I find out your likes and dislikes, your rights and your wrongs, your good, your bad, your ugly, and just love you. Period.
So
I don't.
Preston
Excuse me?
Edwards, that's y'all buddy, Preston Edwards.
Yeah.
Preston
Oh
say
Lord,
love.
Preston watching.
Preston said time and acts of service are not the same thing.
That's right. That's right. That's right. I was just
Come
gonna
through,
hit it with it.
Preston.
Preston, I'm about to send you a link,
Hey,
Say
hold
what
Preston.
you got to say, Alfred.
Preston, I'm about to send you a link. You got to back that up.
I'm about
I'm
to.
about to send you the link right now, Preston. You got to back
So
that up. You
listen.
just can't.
Hey, let me
So-
tell y'all something. Y'all better
First
get ready for the
Corinthians
fireworks.
13, 4 through 8. First
Corinthians
Corinthians 13, 4 through
13.
8.
want me to
Love
read
is
it?
patient. Read it. Go ahead, Eddie.
Dude, man, want me KJV or NLT?
Give them the NLT because they've been living off the
Give
KJV
him
too
a
long.
message, which is the Barney style.
Hey,
Right.
excuse me, y'all. Excuse me, y'all. I know
Man, let me tell
sometimes I
y'all.
overthrow this moderator thing,
Love
but that's why
is
I
patience
love
and
y'all so much. Hey, that word gonna be what that is? Pressed, shaken up, stirred, and poured
Give and
all
it
over
shall
the
be
place.
given unto you good measures, pressed down, shake it up, stir it together, shall me and
Boy,
give it
that
to
thing
you.
be rolling on life off the bench. That thing be rolling. Y'all the best, man. Preston, you better come your butt on this
All right,
link.
so look.
Read,
All
Eddie.
right, so Hobart says, he said, I just love. Okay, so love has a definition. So we're gonna define what you say. I just love. Love
Come on.
is patient and kind. Okay. Love is not jealous or boastful or proud or rude.
I'm listening, bro.
I think he got broke off. But hold on. I picked him up. Read. The preacher says,
Hobart.
read.
So Hobart,
Yes.
so you say time and service is the same thing, but you also know that being in your own business, you can put any project, anything you want to do for that day on the back iron, right? But you don't. You take care of those kids as if they are important, right? You go interview those kids because that's important, and because you have
I'm
love
about
for
to
them.
take off.
You put everything else on the back iron. You'll call me and say, "Oh, wait a minute, man. I got to talk. I got to interview this kid, right?" So you that time,
Eddie, you being messy.
you put it
Come
forth.
on, somebody. Where's my tambourine?
So
You
those
got to
things,
understand,
okay.
Hobart. That's your love language, Hobart.
So are we saying those things that we love, we make time for?
And
Ooh,
that's
I
his
couldn't get
love
a
language. And
tambourine, but
that's
I'll
his
get a
love
pom-pom.
language.
I
Hey,
get a
hey,
pom-pom. I ain't got a tambourine.
hey, I'm not even finna play with y'all. I'm not even finna play with y'all. Did I stutter? I'm not finna play with y'all. Because
You
again, at
talking
the
big
end of the
and bad
day,
don't scare none of us.
so watch this. All right, let me ask you this right here. Let me ask this question right here. Let me ask this question right here. So, how many? And this is not for this for everyone. When dating someone, how do you get to know that person other than spending time with them and enjoying their company? The process of dating don't change. Good Lord.
No, it
People want
hasn't.
you to can someone tell you their whole history in a week and you know that person?
No, you're not supposed to. You don't know a person's history, even if you spend 5, 10, 15, 20 years together, because little by little, different experiences unearth something else in them. You say, oh, babe, I remember. It's just like that song, I remember. Hey, that house song, because everything brings about something new, because it's not necessary. That's why we store memories up, memories. So when you go to date, you're not supposed to give them everything in a week. And if they demand that of you, I'm going to go back to my default. That is not the person for you.
And they're not going to be the person with you that they were with someone else, because you are a new relationship to them. So they're going to try to omit some of the problems they had in their last relationship. Hopefully they would, and move forward with this relationship. So they're not going to be the same person. Hobart.
So look, we're creatures of habit, correct? We're creatures of habit, correct?
No, you got to keep going with that.
Hold on, I'm about to go somewhere. They say we're creatures of habit, right?
I'm listening.
Now, when the scripture says husbands dwell with your wives according to knowledge, that means to continually study your wife. As she grows, as she changes.
Amen.
But if we creatures of habit, think about men. We'll say, well, you didn't like that 5 years ago. Right. I'm supposed to study her according to the knowledge that I learned every single day. Because after we had our son, my wife turned into a woman I did not even know. And I'm not saying that negative. I'm not saying that in a bad way. She was a different woman when she became a mother. Hold on. What I'm saying is she's always been independent. Always been an independent, just handle things herself because she was conditioned that way. But what wound up happening was when she became a mother, she became more codependent, and I wasn't used to it. I had to be more in tune with her and knowing things that she needed and wanted and desired, because she had another part of her had come out when she had become a mother. You see what I'm saying? And now here it is. My son is 9 years old, and she's continually evolved over the course of the last 9 years. She's not the same woman she was when he was 2.
So have you. Just say, let me speak. Let's hear for the girls. So let me say, as you talk about knowledge and knowing somebody, y'all not the same from 1 minute to the next, and neither are we supposed to be, because time on the clock moves where? Forward.
Yeah.
So as it moves forward, you take what you learn and you keep building upon it. As you present yourself, Hobart, I'm gonna go back to your little dating hit. As you move forward, you're supposed to better yourself. And as you work on being the best you that you can be, when you come into that relationship, you're presenting the best you. And as you ask God to make me over, make me under, clean out anything that's unlike you, he's going to bring that person to you that matches you where you are in that season, and you will grow together. And as you continually study each other, know each other, I mean, you understand that it doesn't take all that. You go through different seasons, you close different chapters, you turn different pages. You know exactly what that person is passionate about, what their favorite ice cream is, what side of the bed they like to sleep on, what the favorite. You're supposed to know all that stuff. And in your dating, why should you give them all your cookies before you get some marriage? In dating, you're doing just that. And I'm not talking about just the sexual part. I'm not just talking about the sexual part. They're not supposed to get the full essence of you anyway. Why would you? If you keep dishing out the full, I'm so glad you on mute. When you keep dishing out the full essence of you to everybody, what do you have left for the person that God has?
Yes.
For yourself.
Get back on that screen, boy.
Get back on here now. Don't run now, because they own it tonight. I'm telling y'all. Listen. So
go, April. I'm
we
hot
have
tonight.
I'm telling y'all. If you do all of this stuff that we talking about in the preface, I don't even think you got to worry about it souring.
Yeah,
Mm,
You
mm.
ain't even got to worry about getting to that part of the
right,
relationship because every day gonna be a new day. Every
right.
day is gonna be something different. And
Every
you
day,
know,
every day.
you went like Coach E said when he saw his wife pregnant, she was a different person. Man, I'm struggling with that independence thing, Coach E, because I've always been the person to take care of April.
Mm,
And so if somebody even shows me an inkling of an interest that they want to do something that takes care of April, I'm looking over my shoulder, I'm questioning them because ain't nobody, and this is the habit that we get into. Nobody else ain't ever did
Mm,
that for me. We can't put
that's
everybody
right.
in the same little bubble
That's right.
because
right.
everybody is different. So if you've ever
That's right.
loved and been hurt, which that applies to almost all of us, or if you were the person doing the hurting, you
Mm,
cannot look at the next relationship the same way the previous one went
Yeah,
because you limit yourself and you limit the person that you are with. That person cannot be responsible for what everybody else has said or done because they don't. The only person we have control over is us. And when we remember that, we become better people. When we
And can I
remember that, go.
go ahead? Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm just chomping at the bit. I didn't know this love would bring out evoke so much love in me
And
tonight.
it does because love is an expressive word. It's a passionate word. And when you begin to talk about it and you
It
talk about
is.
it in its full sense, in its full dialect, then people begin to see different. But until we want to do different, love doesn't change. The Bible says
No,
love never fails.
never.
and you know, you said something about that independence. As y'all talk about that independence. See,
Mm,
this here you go. Here you go. I got some help, and I'm gonna pass this help along. Men and women are like this. A woman maintains that independence, and that masculine side of her because
mm,
she's not been in a relationship or had the person for her where she can be afforded to have that feminine side of her and be
mm,
able to say, I'm safe, I'm secure, I'm protected, I'm rested. I can then just do what I do. I can sit at the gate. My husband can sit at the gate. My children can call me blessed because I'm taking care of my house. I'm taking care of my family. I'm taking care of things. I'm improving myself. I'm bettering myself so everyone around me can win. And the same for men. Men have not been allowed to be masculine. It's so many women that want to dominate the man or manipulate the man into their, if you will, into their, the word is escaping me, into
okay.
their wiles or into their whatever their flavor for the month is. So you
Mhm.
meet them, you looking like Nicki Minaj, and when you come home and take all this stuff off, you expect them to still love you. Well, come on, somebody. By the time you got to know that who you with is loving you for
Mhm.
who you
Who
are.
you are.
So this come off, that come off, this come off, and you by the time you take all that off, and he's sitting, y'all sitting there looking at each other, the same old, because you don't have to look at if you make that decision, if God has yoked you with that person. When
Yeah.
you make a decision and you 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road, all them Coca-Cola's gonna look like 2 liters on both.
Mhm.
Then what you
I'm working on it.
And if you love them for the right reason, you don't even see them 2 liters of niche. You see that 1 16-ounce bottle that you saw the first time you saw them and fell in love with them.
Yeah.
way back?
And
Because every
vice
new
versa. She see that 6-pack that she saw on you 20 years ago.
babe.
Ooh, my baby
You know what
show
I
look
do?
good.
I hang on them guns. I said, baby, let me hang on your guns. Let me hang on.
Mm,
You know what? I'm using this example today, right? So it's so funny. We're talking about how the 2 liter and whatever the 6 packs and all that stuff turns. But God gives you such new vision. He gives you clarity through the eyes
Mhm.
of love and what love will do. So
yeah.
we went up to the church today that's in construction. And me, I profess, stay in your lane. When you stay in your lane, you don't have to worry about traffic. I went over and started messing with the water valve in the church. What happened, y'all? Water went everywhere.
Mhm.
He dressed in suit and dress and everything. Mr. Collier stood right over the water and starts digging in. By the time you finish, you could take his suit jacket and ring it like this. But that was love. Love was,
Yeah.
I don't want you to get drenched. I don't
Yeah.
want you to do that. Let me do what I know how to do.
Yeah.
Find a Philip screwdriver. I know what a Philip is. Okay, bam, I can hit the Philip. He got the Philip, put the pot under there. We got the mop, and I did what I did. You know what I did, y'all? I grabbed a mop. And not saying that only a woman mops, but I grabbed a mop because I knew how. That's what we call teamwork. And so when you have love, you complement each other. You connect with each other. You don't have to speak a language. He didn't have to say, go get the mop. And I didn't have to say, Alpha, stop water. It was already, things understood don't need to be explained.
Yeah.
Love.
Yeah.
Ooh,
I got something funny for you. I got something funny for you.
Hova got something he want to say, Coach.
Go ahead.
Let him get his 2 words in.
He got to come back on the screen, though.
yeah, we got to see that little Eminem.
Come on, Eminem.
Hey, so I'm.
Don't look at
I
us.
love
Look
y'all.
at the road. We'll take your profile.
Hey,
Look at the road.
Listen, Lucy. Listen, Lucy. So no, for real. What y'all said earlier, I want to go back to that real quick about. I know again. I was with the same person for 23 years, and before she had Junior, we used to wild out together. But after she had Junior, and I didn't understand this at first, and up until y'all know how old I was when I understood that.
Yesterday.
8 years old.
Today.
Today, right now.
I was close.
Because again, I'm trying to be for real here. As a man, all I saw was the woman that I fell in love with didn't want to do the same things that we did before Junior.
Yeah.
And I like the person that I met and we hung out and we went shot pool, or or she went to the strip club with me, or she went to the club with me. That was right down my alley back in the G. I'm just being, we still being honest here, right?
100. Do you, boo?
So I did not, up until 5 minutes ago, I did not understand why.
Mm-hmm.
And it bothered me for all that time because, again, the woman that I fell in love with did not do the things that we started off doing. And so I was under the impression that some things in your life, you need to tell your partner why it changed.
They ain't always like that, Chad. Chad,
So
you awfully quiet today. That's what I'm about to say.
Coach,
so I remember you said you and I was about to call your wife Anise. You and Miss Wilson, y'all dated in college, and then y'all came back together. So the lady that you dated in college, is she the woman that you married to now?
I guess at her core, yes, but
to some extent,
right. But we had a situation where let me address Hova first before I go there. The 2 words: communication and observation. You got to keep your eyes open to what's going on amidst the process, and then you may have to bring the conversation. Hey, I noticed that before we like to do this, but now tell me what's going on. That's the one thing I can say that my wife and I do a lot of. We do a lot of talking. And a lot of people would, when they say talking, they were like, oh man, like what's the deal? But our talking is like while we're getting ready to go to work, when we get home to work, while we're driving home, from work. Those types of things. It's more than just functional conversation. It's conversation about a lot of different things that's going on. And so we seize every opportunity that we have in order to be able to communicate about whatever it is that we need to communicate about. So it doesn't have to be a set time, set place, what have you, and everything. We do it, I guess you could say, kind of on the fly.
I lost sound.
Eddie.
Yeah.
Oh, Renee's still here. My bad. I'm sorry.
There you go, Chad. Your sound went off. There you go. We hear you now.
But we always take that time to have conversation. Now, you were talking about, is my wife the same? My wife's name is Nisha. Is Nisha the same when we dated in college? You know, like I said, at our core, we are, but things have changed. So we dated all through college, and then when we got into our professional career, it took us to two different cities, and it became hard for us to be together. You know, and so, you know, we kind of, I guess, split on good terms. We both got married and we both got divorced, and so life kind of roughed us up a little bit or whatever, and it just so happened, you know, life brought us back together again. You know, and so and again, the thing that we did is we communicated, we talked a whole lot before we decided to get married. You know, we talked about, you know, life experiences, what goals and dreams we have for, you know, for our life. And then we said, hey, you know, we basically picked up where we left off. And then, like I said, everything's good. We've never had, believe it or not, we've never had an argument. We had some disagreements, and I know, you know, I know my wife's mannerisms, and, you know, she'll look us like, just this weekend, we went to a track meet, one of my son's track meet, and I forgot something in the car. Actually, I didn't know that it was in the car. And she said, "You didn't get this?" And I was like, no, it wasn't where all the other stuff was. And she kind of gave me that look. She didn't say nothing. And I said to myself, man, if I don't go get that out the car, you know, and guess what? No issues. You know, I went and got whatever it was out of the car, and everything was good. So you just have to know.
We can't hear you. We can't hear you, Hobart. Hobart tried to say something.
What? I know what he's probably trying to say, but he being messy. But you just have to know your spouse. You know, I know my wife because, like I said, we've been knowing each other forever, and we communicate, you know, pretty good.
Come on, Coach E.
Well, going back to what Hobart was saying before, you know, about what he just picked up on something a few minutes ago. Well, y'all think about it, man. A lot of times we go into relationships selfish because of how we're conditioned. I mean, you got to remember, we're born in sin, shaped in iniquity. As from babies on up, unless we're taught how to give. A lot of times, man, we go into a relationship for what we can get. You know, what I can get out of it.
Get the left cloth. I'm just gonna lay on out. So
well, I mean,
get the left cloth.
But then when you love, though, like I said, when we go by the example of Christ, it's given. Okay, verse 25 in Ephesians chapter 5, husbands, love your wives, even as Christ loved the church and gave himself for it. That's what we're supposed to do. That's supposed to be our motivation. That's how I coach. That's how I teach my guys, because I want all my boys to want to lead a family. That's my desire for them. I have former players who came from broken homes who are now married and have families, and they didn't have a father and didn't have. So I take, I'm very, very proud of the boys that I coached who are now men and leading families now, because that means they was listening. They paid attention. They saw the example of how I treated my family, while I was coaching with them. So we have to learn that in a relationship, it literally is not about what you can get out of it. It's not. I heard a preacher say this about 2 or 3 days ago. He said, man, when you get married, you get into a relationship, you got to get into a relationship with somebody who you're willing to suffer with and suffer for. Period. If you don't want to suffer with them or for them, then it ain't the one. She or he or she is not the one. And so with that being said, we gotta have some truth, something that we have that outlines our life, to help us understand what our role is. And a lot of times for us, we just don't understand what our role is. Like I told y'all, the culture, us growing up here in America, has taught us what our role is, and it's not true. The Bible tells us what our role is, and it's been hidden right in our face all this time. We didn't read and understand that. And then moving on to a comment that Preston said, he's that's our brother. It says she's supposed to open up the line of communication. No, sir. Men are the leaders. We're the leaders. And you know why we don't talk a lot of times? Because we got secrets. We got stuff we don't want to tweet. We don't want her to figure and dig into some stuff that we might not want to touch. And that's the case sometimes. So I'm not gonna say all the time. I'm gonna say sometimes. Sometimes there's stuff there. There's some things that's there that we don't want them to ask the right question at the wrong time. But we're supposed to lead. So it's not on her, our wife, to lead in the lines of communication. That's on us. We study our wives, and then if it's something we want to know, we ask.
So
That's where it starts. It starts there. Now, of course, if we do listen, our wives or our relationship, they're going to tell us a lot if we're listening, if we're actually paying attention to what we see and what we hear. Even something as simple as Pastor Call and Mr. Call is something as simple as you hear Mr. Alfred. You hear your wife say she might just throw out in a random conversation. She might not necessarily expect it, but she'll say, "Man, that purse there real nice." You know what I'm saying? She didn't tell you, "Hey, go give me that purse." She just said, "Man, that's a nice purse," in just a sidebar conversation. And then you show up the next day with the purse. You see what I'm saying? Because you was listening. She didn't say, "Go get it." You just heard her say in a passing conversation. I surprised my
I
wife
don't
with
give enough time, Coach Eddie.
but all we're saying is that men, we have to be initiators. You know, when we read the scripture in chapter 5, it describes three things. Men, we're the provider, the protector, and the priest. That's who we are for our household. We provide, we protect, and we're the priest. We're the ones that go to God the Father for our families. So, I mean, it's giving. Men, right now, for us, we're still learning what it means to give outside of just go to work and make the money. Hold on, y'all. He said, "I'm not saying that she's supposed to lead. I'm saying that we cannot read minds, and we should not have to assume." And you're right. You know what you're saying? This is what they say. Well, you ought to know that. You're right, Preston. I agree. Well, you should know that. Well, some stuff she's been saying, and we ain't been listening.
And
Sometimes.
you
I ain't gonna say all the time.
50 ways to Sunday in different ways, and you haven't picked it up.
Yeah.
Hey,
So that's
I am. I do not like green eggs and ham. So stop bringing me green eggs and ham.
yeah.
hey, well,
You like that Preston, so don't take the offense.
we want to thank Brother Preston for his comment, because that's leading us with, hey, anybody know about a 6-speed? What you got to do to make it go? Got to change gears.
Got change gears.
Yeah.
So this where the sour part come in at, because the line of communication has been clipped.
Yeah.
The anger has set in. The emotion is intertwining, and she just don't care right now.
And
You
so,
don't care right now.
Why she don't care?
April got a question for April. Got a lead in. Let her get her lead in.
Okay.
So sour. SOUR. Showing others your reality. And I'm spelling your with a U. Showing others your reality.
That'll preach. Let me write that down.
Ooh. I'm gonna post that, and I'm gonna tag your name to that. Okay, that's gonna be a post.
Come on, I'm gonna preach that. Don't stop that
again.
Showing others your reality.
Wow.
I'm gonna have to get credit to April Grayson in my sermon.
Chad, that's big time right there. Showing others your reality. Oh my God. Go ahead and break that down.
To show others your reality, they begin to see the real you, the one you've been masquerading, hiding all along, that they haven't seen, because that's not the person you wanted them to see. I wanted you to see all these peaches and creams and strawberries and whipped cream, and, flowers and candy. But what I didn't want you to see was that two-headed monster I turn into when you push the wrong button and make me angry. Or the person
excuse me, in the streets today, they call that sending your representative ahead.
your representative, your alter ego, whoever it may be, the person that
Wow.
is designated to represent you when you don't. Will the real April please stand up? That's what I have to tell her
Come
sometimes.
on, Slim Shady. Some
So
please stand up. Please
I have
stand
to
up.
look in the mirror and say, girl, what's wrong with you? Now, that wasn't even called for. But in the harsh reality, when we talking about this thing called love, love made me do it. If you hadn't have done this, then I wouldn't have did that. And
You
now
know
we
what?
bickering and arguing and complaining, and I don't like this, and we hit hard, we hit under the belt when we have felt like we have been wronged. I'm gonna
Wow.
get you before you get me, showing others
Some
your
Wow.
of
real
us,
your
April.
reality.
Some of us, April.
Yeah,
Some of
some of us, not
us.
all of us, some of us. Everything I say don't apply to everybody, because
Right.
everybody ain't like that.
But a hit dog
Let
a holler.
let me talk about April. Here she go. April is the most loving person you ever want to meet until you make her angry. And then
Mm.
she turns green, Hope green. Y'all know Lou
Ooh.
Ferrigno?
Yes.
Please don't make me angry. You won't like me when I get angry. And so if I get angry, I will say some things. And they
Yeah.
ain't nice things, they ain't godly things. And so now I just caused this relationship to turn the other way. Because now he looking at me side eye. What happened to the woman I fell in love with? And how did
Wow.
all that stuff come out of her? Who is
Wow.
this? And now I'm looking at him sideways because I'm mad at him. That's why I said all this stuff. And he act like he ain't understand why I said all that stuff.
Wow.
Who is that person sitting next to you, looking at you, you looking at them, and now both of y'all angry. And we don't want to be together no more. Because guess what failed? Love didn't fail. The Bible says love never fails.
Right.
The communication failed.
More
Yep.
than communication, I think it's the honesty.
Brutal honesty.
It's the honesty.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
you when you are dishonest with a person, then it's not the love that sours, it's the connection between the two people that sours. Because when the dishonest aspect comes in, the facade is out, as Hobart just says, sending the representative in. You can be, people send false representatives in for 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 year, 2 years, hell, 15 years in my case. And then the real person stood up, and I was like, oh wow. But guess what? I don't blame anything, but I know that it was unconditional love that I had that made me see all them red flags, warn
Oh Lord.
Rogers, and I'm going, no, God, couldn't be. Warning, warning, switch tracks, switch tracks, switch tracks. And I was like, no, but then I traced it all back and had to have that conversation with myself and say, I chose, and I'm not supposed to do the choosing. And that's the difference. So when
Right.
love ours, we have to be honest, truthful, realistic with ourselves. Where was the deception? Was the deception on your part and what you wanted to believe to be true? Or was it in the other person? Because I truly believe that people show you who they are, no matter what their words are. They show you. What say you, Brother Collier?
Yeah, I believe that I hear what y'all saying about the representative and everything, but uh, I think that can only, and I think it was Eddie that brought it up earlier that we don't ask the right questions in the beginning stage. We're not putting ourselves uh, in the right places with that person. We're not going through anything with that person. I know when I met my wife, uh, like I said in that story, is I had already had a Bible meeting that I was supposed to go to, And instead of me saying, you know, blowing off the Bible meeting that I was supposed to go to, it gave me an opportunity to see exactly what this person was going to do when I bring up the word God, Bible, you know. So I'm saying, okay, well, if you're going to go with me, then I'm going to this Bible meeting that I have. If you want to go with me, you can go with me, you know. So when then we went, so I knew that, and I saw her interact with the group. I was like, okay, that's one thing I know that we have in common, that we can talk about God. You know what I mean? We can sit and hold our own talking about God. So that was a plus for me, you know. So and I think a lot of times I would have changed my plan and said, well, let's go hang out at some restaurant or something, you know. We could have easily done that, but we didn't. So I think that the representative thing is, are we putting up a representative also at a time that you're meeting this other person? Surely they may have their representative there, but are you being true with you when you meet that person?
Say you.
Pick me.
Go ahead. Yes.
So I think that everyone brings a little of their representative to the table when they first meet someone, because I think we'd be doing a disservice if we said that we weren't scared to be hurt again or to experience whatever we experienced from our past. And so I think everyone brings that person back to the table. But if you
I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that, Hobart, because I'm going to go back. I had been through some bad relationships. So my thing, God gave me time to myself to learn me and to learn who I was and to be happy with me. So by the time I met my wife, it didn't matter to me at that point in time. That's why I say I was able to say, we going to this church thing, because I knew who I was at that time. You know what I mean? And Hobart, you was with me on base. You know, a lot of places, a lot of things I didn't do with the guys that we hung with, right? I went to school. If I had a class going on and they had a barbecue going on, I'm going to class. So I knew who I was, and I knew what God had for me. So if it wasn't on my timeline, I wasn't afraid. I'll put it this way. I wasn't afraid of what people would think of me. I wasn't afraid. I had grown out of that. That my experiences had grown me up into learning who I was and what affects me and what affects my future. Because I had my future, my kids to think about. So, yeah, I think that if you go into a relationship scared, then you don't need to be in that relationship. Because that was my thing, is if you're going to accept me for who I am, I'll accept you for who you are. And that turns out to be the better approach for me. So, yeah, don't go into a relationship scared. That's one thing I would say.
So Hobart, you got to sing the Heavy D. I want somebody love me for me. So our moderator says, how is it that we can change our past perspectives of relationships so that new relationships are able to blossom? And Alfred just led into that, is that you can't be scared. You got to be true. You got to spend some time with yourself, and you got to know who you are. So, Brother Chad?
Yes. I always go back to the two things that I said earlier, communication and observation. We would hope that everybody be their authentic self, but sometimes we people aren't as authentic, in the very, very beginning, but their authentic self, you'll see signs and different things that'll happen. I think when it comes to, if you want to call it failed relationships or what have you, a lot of people like to point the blame, but for me, I take 100% ownership in everything the things that happened to me. Because again, was I paying attention to what was going on? Did I overlook those things, or did I just go along with it, or what have? Even if you feel like the person has done you wrong, there's always some things that you see, or you can observe if you're really paying attention, that may not be to your liking or what have you. So the onus is on you, to address those situations with that person, or set those boundaries with that person if you really want things to work with that person. So like I said, I take 100% ownership to what has happened to me, or the experiences that I've had, because one, it helped me to be better, but also if I would have been paying attention to what was going on, things may have happened a little bit differently, or I may been able to react to those things and dealt with them a little bit differently.
But would you be the person you are today? That's a sidebar question. I want you to hold that as we're gonna think about that as we close. And Coach Eddie, I want you to answer that same question, but I want you to hear it in its fullness. And I'm going to read Meditra's comment, which is, one must be ready to date, give yourself time to heal and grow before dating, and also don't bring negative baggage when starting a new relationship. So I hear that term often, and especially when I in therapy with other people. Well, I get all this baggage. So that segues, or that's complementary to our question, which is changing our past perspectives of older relationships, and how are we able to then have healthy is the key word, relationships. How are we able to have healthy relationships? Brother Collier said he had some time to himself. What would you say was your biggest thing? Because even now, even though you're married and you're working some things out, we're human. There are some things that we might look at in our relationship and goes, is that a quacking duck? It's a little orange. Is that a quacking duck? And your mind, you have to catch your mind and realize that's from my past. That's not my now. How do you change your past perspectives so that what you're in right now blossoms fully?
That's for me.
That's for you, Coachy.
Okay, all right.
That was a lot.
One of the things that I just referenced what I've learned, over time. One of our marriage retreats we went to said that when you meet somebody and you go to dating and getting to the point of marriage, it said two people are bringing their childhoods together. You bring your childhoods together. We're most vulnerable at the beginning of the relationship, and sometimes what winds up happening is, especially if you had failed relationships, then we start to hide more and more and more over time. When we had failed relationships, because our vulnerability, we've been hurt. So in order to change that, it's very, very difficult to do it without some type of compass. We have to have truth. And, for all of us on here, we all say that we believe in, the word of God. And of course, it's one of those deals where, one of the scriptures, and I can't remember it verbatim, Pastor, but it has something that says, "Suffer little children that they come to me," so they can hear them. And yes, ma'am. And for that's a mindset and it's a perspective. It's allowing ourselves to be fresh when we come into a relationship and not necessarily go into the relationship, with the trauma. And that's what Brother Collier said. He had time to himself And like I said, he obviously had some type of compass there to realize, you know what, man, I got to learn, who I am. And I think sometimes, in relationships, we go from hurt to hurt to hurt to hurt, and we never really give ourselves an opportunity to really know who we are and what we really need and what we bring to the table. It's kind of just like you said, sweeping the dirt under the rug and keep on doing it to the point now it's a big old lump under the under the rug. And it's like, well, God, why has that rug got a lump on it? Because that's years of dirt. So yeah, so we really do need to be empty, especially in a situation where we're going relationship to relationship. We got to be empty, man. We got to put ourselves in a position where we can be healed totally. And we got to deal with the reality of ourselves because, like I said, loving is giving. If loving is giving, well, if you keep emptying yourself and never refilling yourself with anything, you have nothing else to give but the hurt and the trauma. So in order for the perspective to change, we got to be healed. We got to be healed. We got to have it's not saying you forgot everything that happened in your life, but a lot of times we have a hard time forgiving ourselves.
Absolutely. Ding, ding, ding,
yeah.
ding, ding, ding,
Well,
ding.
now I'm getting into the detail of me. I did not know what forgiveness was. Like I had no clue, none. And thank God for my in-laws and for my wife. That's when they were patient with me, non-judgmental, literally looked at me through the eyes of faith. And for me, for the first time in my life, I realized that forgiveness was a real thing, that it was real. Like I said, it's not forgetting what happened. It's choosing that I'm going to not let that thing hurt me the same way that it did before. And then also not being afraid to be vulnerable again, because that is love. You cannot love without being vulnerable. You gotta be. If you're holding something back, you're not loving. You're not doing it. So I know we said a lot, but perspective change only gonna happen in some alone time with you and God, and feeding yourself not love songs and not songs about relationships that hurt you and movies about you gotta get in a Bible teaching ministry. You gotta listen to sermons, you gotta read things that gives you insight on what it feels like to the fresh and new you with new perspective. And then you go into your next relationship understanding what your role is.
Absolutely. So before I get to you, Brother Holbert, Brother Eddie said something, and all the men, Alfred, Eddie, and Chad, all three of you guys have said something really awesome. Is the vulnerability, the knowing yourself, to whether or not you're going to step back into if you think that you have control over your life, then that means you're not worshiping God.
Wow.
If you have control over your life, because if you are controlling your life, then God is not in control of you. I mean, I don't know any other way to put that. Because when you spend time alone with God, that means you're asking him for everything. The same way you receive every breath is the way that you should receive every direction. The word says the steps of a righteous man are ordered in the Lord. That means everything you think, everything you do, everything you feel. God guides that, but you have to go to him. So if you never go to him, never run, do a drive-by, check in. All right, God, thank you. Oh, bless my food, bless my cheeseburger that I don't choke. Oh, keep me on the road. But you not have those intimate moments where he and he alone, and you cry out from the depths of your soul. That's why I love the Psalms, because David was real. David understood. He would cry out, "Oh Lord, I screwed up. Oh Lord, I'm so sorry, but you still love me. You created me a clean heart." Psalms 51:10 says, "Create in me a pure heart, O Lord, and renew a steadfast spirit within me." The cleansing must take place. You gotta clean up what you messed up in order to start back over again. There was Bible in every word that we ever sang as a people, because that's what we knew. That was our foundation. So if you think, oh, I don't listen to this, oh, that's ungodly, that's blasphemous. Oh, no, 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 no. Understand the root of our culture as a people. I'll teach that class, but that's on a whole nother day. How you can trace everything that happens in this world back to us. But that's all right, somebody. Come on. When you own your stuff, and that's why I out with saying about honesty. When you are honest in relationships, love blossoms. If you've been hurt, love blossoms. You gotta be honest with it. If you hurt someone else, you have to be honest about that thing and own it. And so when people come say, I come into a relationship, oh, this is 50-50, then I don't want that relationship, because that means you only giving me half of you. I want 100% and you give me 100. As a matter of fact, we gonna take it till the wheels roll off if we die trying. I said 100% with your sign language. That's not 100, but I'll take that. What I want all of you, so you can give me all, because everything that you give should be your all. If you only giving 50, then what's happening to the other 50? What's really going on? I'm just asking. I'm just asking. So when this love thing goes sour, as we like to say, and I keep hearing, I want to say this, and you can take it or you not, or do whatever. We say failed relationships, failed this and failed that. What was the failure? Was the failure that you went through the plans that were meant for your life according to your choices because of will, for you to learn the lesson that you needed in order to be a blessing in the relationship that you are in now, for the people, places, and things that you are encountering? Or are you going to hang on to, oh, this is failed? I'm not chalking up any losses. Everything has to be wins. So because this relationship was not meant for me to be in, that's because I can stand right still and study myself and understand what didn't go right. So with that being said, do y'all still want to count them as failed relationships, or you want to consider?
Well, I have a saying. I say I don't lose, I learn. I mean,
and that's why I was really reluctant to say. I said failed relationship, because actually in those situations I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about, again, I didn't come to this point. I wasn't at this point way back when, where I understood how to communicate and observe things that's going on. It was because of those experiences that now I'm saying, hey, look, these are the essential things that I have to do in order for things to work out the way they're intended to work, So, it's all a learning process. It's all, it was a part of the plan. It was all a part of God's plan for, hey, look, you need to go through this. You need to see this. You need to understand this. You need to take ownership and ownership in all of these things. What part you played in it, and what happened. Hey man, you need to realize that she had, some issues that didn't have nothing to do with you, man. And for me, man, don't look at it as you failed. Hey man, or you were the problem, or man, this is something that you was trying to help this person go through, and guess what, man, it was bigger than you. But what? As we, just to jump right in it, my ex-wife thanks me now. Said, you know what, amidst all the things that that we went through, how ugly it got at one time, or what have you, she said, you know what, you were the same way the whole entire time. You tried to help me. You attempted, and Chad, it was bigger than you. This had something to do. This had nothing to do with you. And guess what? That's huge. That's huge in growth for her. It's huge in growth for me, and it made things a whole lot better. So if you go through something and you don't learn something from it, right? So things are gonna continue to happen the same way. So you have to look at it as a learning experience, because that's the way God intended it for it to happen.
Absolutely. Alfred.
I agree with what the gentleman has said so far, and a lot of times we get caught up in us and we think we have the power to better someone. You know, we can only be used as a tool from God, because you can't change someone that don't want to be changed. And trust me, I wasted a lot. Well, I wasted a lot of time, but I learned and I used those experiences. And like I said, when I had that time alone, overseas, back home, sick, at the rehabilitation place, I had that time to reflect and to see what part did I play in this, you know. And the first thing I had to understand was that I thought I was doing these things. You know, I thought I was the one going to help this person in my own head, what I thought was better for them, you know. And I understand what Chad is saying. You can't be the one to say what's good for somebody else, you know, because that's not what's good to them. They know what's good to them, and a lot of times they don't know what's good for them, but they know what's good to them. And a lot of times we try to be the moderators of someone else's life, and we get caught up, and we're losing because we're off our track from where we're supposed to be going, and the things that we're supposed to be doing. And yeah, I just think that we have to be conscious, even in our present relationship. We have to be conscious of what is our part in the relationship, you know, on a daily basis, and what are we doing to enhance the relationship, or what is it we're not doing. So I think that's where we're at. I'm going to leave
Brother
that.
Hope.
Let me look at the question again. So when I look at the fact of counting love as joy, when I look at the fact of asking God to create in me a clean heart, all those things are just everyday life things that we have to process, because you don't want to be in a relationship that's dead. You know, that's like going to the creek and you're looking for some fresh water, but everything is stagnant, got algae and mold around it where you are. Who wants to be in a relationship like that? Like, you have to, again, one of my new favorite sayings is you got to lead with love with everything you do. That, you know, and you know, we're talking about relationships, but that's a process in friendship. That's a process in brotherhood, sisterhood. You know, that's a process in everything you do in your everyday life. You have to have I saw this Western, and the guy said, well, I'm gonna have good thoughts about you. Why wouldn't you have good thoughts about your mate or your friend or your brother or your sister? Why would you have hate in your heart, you know, about people that you say you love? And I can't love Alfred, who's been more than a brother, and not love a niece. I can't love one without loving the other one. I can't love brother Eddie, without loving Tanya. I can't love Chad without loving Anitra. I can love April and not love anybody because she ain't married to no. Well, I don't really like her husband. So,
That don't
sorry,
count.
God.
That don't count. He He was doing
Hey,
real
y'all
good.
said
I mean, he
y'all
had
said in the
me
show we keep it
bated
100,
breath.
right? We keeping it a
You
buck or
had
we
me,
keeping it a
you
buck?
had me at bated breath, and then you just
There
that's
was
because
the
you the
pettiness
brother.
in me. There was the pettiness in me. I don't like
You
that
the brother.
fool. I
You
don't
the
He
like
said
that
the
brother.
Lord
fool at
still
all.
working on. The Lord still working on.
You
Yeah,
the
the Lord.
brother.
God still using me. God
He
still
still
using me.
working. He's still working
No, it
on
is
him.
no for
You
real.
the brother.
We got, you can't love one person without loving the person who they love, because they're gonna choose the person they love every single time, and that's what they
Yeah.
should do. That's exactly what should happen. If it's your spouse, your girlfriend, I hope not your boyfriend. If you're a boy, I hope not your
Why
girlfriend. If you're
not?
a girl,
You his friend boy, you his friend man, you his bro, his homie. We just shorten and change the words.
kissing
And get
cousin.
over that homophobic stuff, because words are just that. Because you are his friend, you were born a boy, and that is it. Okay,
No
the
kissing
more
cousins.
you put on it, the more it's added to it. Up next. So when we think about that, and we think about this show called Love and what happened when love turns sour and showing someone our reality, I'm gonna uptick this thing. I'm going for the long ball. I'm hitting them golf balls. I'm going hole in one. What do hey, I want 816. What's comes next? 20. No, I'm just joking. When you have the mindset, no matter how much you believe that your heart has been broken, your spirit has been broken, your mind has been challenged, everything within you makes you want to scream, make you want to holler, point fingers, cuss, scream, whatever, go through your periods and your phases. For men and women, they call it the hoish phases, the dating around, the sleep one, next one. Ain't nothing like to get over somebody but getting under the next. Come on, if we doing real talk, we doing real talk, right? Look at Chad's face. He got froze that way. Okay, that's funny. Chad, you got froze. Chad, you froze. But anyway, when we talk about those relationships, even with our friendships, right? You in a friend group. It's 4 people in the friend group. One person gets mad at the other person. So are the other two supposed to stop speaking to the other one? Come on now. Patty. When we talk about that, let's talk about how do you genuinely let go and move on? Who wants to start?
Well, shoot, I'll just go by experience. I mean, the thing about that is that we've talked about communication the whole time, and what I've learned over time is that if you have somebody that's not willing to communicate, if they don't feel safe in that group, which, like I said, if you're talking about your homies and you're talking about the people you've been around, it's got to come to a point where, like I said, the communication is wide open. We got to be straight up and honest, and I think that's just the part that we just get lost in sometimes. That is, sometimes people hold back honesty and they say, "Well, I don't want to hurt nobody's feelings." But I'm gonna tell y'all how I am. We got a real relationship. I do care about your feelings overall, but when it comes down to truth, I don't, because I got to be willing to lay the friendship on the line for truth. We got to be honest, because when people say for peace sake, well, there is no peace. Because if I'm being quiet to keep your feelings from being hurt, I'm tore up on the inside. So there's no peace. So the thing about it is that we love each other, then we're willing to hear each other and what we are frustrated about or confused or whatever. I always say this when I'm dealing with people. I say, man, everybody all of our feelings are valid, but it don't mean they're true. The feelings are valid, but it doesn't mean they're true.
Wait, Coach Eddie. I'm gonna put a pin in it. I'm gonna let you finish.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
My feelings are true, but you
Okay.
can't tell me how to interpret what it is you say. You can't tell me what I feel is not true, but
Mhm.
you can share with me that whatever occurred, happened, said, whatever transpired was not intended for that way.
Right.
But my feelings are true because they are my feelings. Because remember, over here, I got my whole own pot of gumbo going on that validates my it makes my feelings true.
So understand what I'm saying. I'm not disagreeing with you. I don't disagree with you. So what I'm saying, but what I'm saying is that if I can reword, I can say might not be based on truth because of perspective. All of our perspectives are skewed sometimes based on our experience. So how we process it is, like I said, it's valid. But then when we talk to each other, and if you interpret it a certain way, and I keep telling you, this is what I meant, or this is what I was trying to say, and you choose to stay in the place that you're in because you're comfortable with that emotional state. That's why I say it the way I say it, because what happens is that if we're in a relationship, after we come off our emotional high and we're actually listening to each other because we love each other, because I'm not trying to be right. I want our relationship. I love you. So I'm just trying to be right. That's the part that we get caught up in, just trying to be right.
Yeah.
That's not what I want. I want our relationship to be true. And so when it comes down to that, we will find that happy medium or whatever you want to call it in order for us to continue to love each other, continue to grow in our relationship. Because, man, if we're in a relationship, we're going to have a struggle. We're going to get into it. We're going to disagree because we're two different people. Four different people if you want to go there. but at some point in time, because we say we love each other, we got to be, even if I'm cool with somebody that have a different stance than me on some things in life, that's okay. As long as we understand each other, we're not sitting there lying to each other, just leading each other. You know what I'm saying? Because it's my choice if I want to be cool with you or not. Because I can choose not to be.
Right there. Your feelings are your choice.
Mm-hmm.
You can choose to believe what you want to believe, but if you love me and you believe I love you and know that I love you, then you will understand and hear out what it is I have to say. So your feelings are your choice.
Right. That's true. It's very, very true. And so, so it's always with that, that's the thing. If you're with somebody that's not willing to do that, or if they have, because sometimes it takes people time. It might take them a week or two, and they finally, I know me and a friend of mine had a disagreement, and it took him probably about 5 months that we didn't talk. And what happened was he just picked up the phone and started talking. He never said, "I'm sorry." He just picked up the phone. You see what I'm saying? But in my relationship with him, I understood that him finally picking the phone and calling at that time, man, we was cool. Some stuff didn't have to be explained. That phone call told me right there he was good, and we moved on from that. And it was my choice to accept it that way, because I could have went back and said, "Hey, man, you go apologize for what you said." I didn't have to do that. He finally got enough inside of him to call because we got a relationship. We've been knowing each other for years, and I value the relationship. The situation, it was something that he was disturbed about, and then what wound up happening, y'all, after a few weeks, he brought it up and explained how he misinterpreted and misunderstood what was going on between he and I. It was outside influence. I didn't ask him nothing about it. He brought it up. Yeah, man, folk were saying this, man, folks saying that. I had to think about it. Man, that ain't Ed. Ed ain't like that. That's my boy. You see what I'm saying? But I gave him time and space to do that because I loved him. So when we started back talking, we cool. We good, man.
Oh, you just added another nuance to our relationships, but I don't want to belabor this conversation. And Hobart is not going to discuss this next week because we're going to massage it tonight till it's done. So with that, I'm going to present to Hobart the same thing I presented to you, but I'm going to add on the layer of how do you keep folks out of your business in your
relationship? That's another hour, y'all.
We're not tonight.
I'm going to keep this one short and simple because the answer is short and simple. Keep your relationship private. Nobody knew Will and Jada was having marriage or relationship problems until Will slapped Chris Rock in front of the world.
She been on Red Table. She been telling their problems on Red Table Talk. She been telling folks.
Well, I must have missed that episode then.
Yeah.
But if you don't put people in your business, nobody knows whether things are good, bad, or indifferent. And The problem is social media isn't the place for your relationship. It isn't the place to air your dirty laundry. It isn't the place to make innuendos of you are or maybe could be possibly having problems. Keep your business on social media. And as the songwriter said, sweep around your own front door
Oh, before you try to sweep
before
around,
you
man.
try to sweep around mine. Now, if your door not clean, don't tell me shit. Period. Because I ain't going to be able, the way my life's set up, if you effed up, you can't tell me nothing. Nothing, not a thing, not a thing, nothing. Oh,
All right. That was interesting. So, with that being said, Brother Collier, you can bring on up the closure before I wrap it up.
I have to hold it close. Now we're discussing about keeping others your
Well, keeping your
the
relationships
question,
private, but it also had to do with the other part of that too, was just being honest.
that. Well, I guess that's knowing your partner also. Honesty is a two-edged sword sometimes, and some things may be said that need not be said. To keep the strife down, to keep the relationship in a good place. So I guess we all have good intentions, but we know good intentions lead to.
Shag gonna say, just smiling, no one know you have problems. What about good intentions? The path to hell is laden with good intentions.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I don't think we should bring in. Be as honest. Being honest is probably gonna be your best bet. And I know Hobart said keep the relationship private. That might bring in more questions or suspicion from people. But I'm gonna leave it like that. Just be true to you and be true in your relationship, and then you won't have to worry about what other people say, because if you're operating together, then the people who are involved in the relationship will have an understanding, and they're both together, can face any scrutiny or any ill will that come their way, because they can work through it and they will know where it's coming from. And then I think that just being honest with each other, I guess, and being accountable, just being accountable. If you're going somewhere or if you're doing something, feel free to let your partner know, hey, I'm gonna be over here at such and such time, or I'm going to do this. I know if I'm going somewhere else, I'll call my wife and say, oh well, so and so just called me. I'm stopping over here, doing. So I just feel you have to feel good in a relationship to be able to do that too. So, and I understand in some cases you might not want to get into an argument or bring up strife. So you'd be like, I'll just let her know when I get back home or whatever. But yeah, I think you have to know your relationship. Know your relationship. That'll be my answer. Know your relationship.
And know your partner, right? Yeah. So honesty is always the best policy, but in everything should be done in love. So your words should be seasoned with grace. I agree. And if you don't feel in that moment that grace is being afforded, or that you're coming from a space where, and I love to hear this phrase now, a healed space, then you need to take you some time, quiet time, prayer time, meditation time. Go in the bathroom, put some water on your face, go in the bathroom, sit there for a minute, watch a TikTok, do something, change gears, and then come back. And that makes the world a difference. And I'm also going to say this. Did you have something else to say, Hobart? Or am I
Yeah,
supposed to
I
wrap
was just gonna try to close when you finish.
up? Oh, you going to do the close. Okay.
Yeah,
So
I
then
like to.
you
I
like
like
to do
to
this because this your
provide.
show? Because this
No,
your
not
show.
because it's my show, but because I think I have something insightful to add to the closing.
Ooh, come on. I love insightful stuff. It makes me smart. So with that being said, what my piece to that is being honest. And being honest of that's cute, Chad. That's cute, Chad. Be mindful of your delivery and honesty. The mailman can toss you your mail or hand you your mail. Operate in love. Hey, that's hot. That's hot. That'll preach. Wait, I need to take a picture of that one. That'll preach. That'll preach. That'll preach. That'll preach. I need to take a picture of that one. Hold on. Okay, I have to take a picture of that one. I got to put it in my notes one Sunday. But what I wanted to say is about relationships is that we are put here on this earth to be interdependent, connected to one another. And especially when God has brought man and woman together for the purposes of continuing on in a marital union. So I'm going to start from there and go backwards, and then I'm going to pass the baton. It's just that in a marriage, you stand before God. And even if you go to a courthouse, they still mention the word of God. You stand before God and you make a vow to him. You affirm in a vow that you will love, honor, respect, in goodness and sickness and health. And you know I know all the words. I'm just sort of placating it right now. But for the simple fact of that, you make a vow before God that he will be the head of your life in all things and that you will consider him in all things. But then we say, I just flew off the handle. You can't fly off the handle if God is in control.
That one.
You can't fly off the handle. You can't. You should be able to catch yourself right as they're coming off your lips and catch it. Because you have to be able to have some. That means you are not self-disciplined. So where then are the fruits of the Spirit? The fruits of the Spirit teach you self-control and self-discipline.
Whoa!
What? What happened?
What are you doing?
What?
What are you doing?
I'm giving my answer
Go
to
another direction. Go another direction.
I don't know how now. Wait a minute.
You can't go that direction.
Jesus. So in my relationship with my husband, I thank God for people have to understand that communication is both verbal and nonverbal. And as you know, observe, learn, study first yourself as well as your partner and have God at the helm of everything, then there's some things you're able to figure out and know. And the stuff you don't know, then it went over your head. It's just not meant for you to know. Okay? And I will say this, is that in all honesty, we don't claim to be experts or any of those things on tonight, but there are marital counselors. In my counseling with couples, one of the things I do bring up is, if your desire is to remain in this relationship, then one of the things that you should strive for is who can outlove whom the most. And that is something that I ask. Coping skills, how to navigate correct communications are simply things that we were not taught, things that we learn, we unlearn, and we relearn. And so it's a matter of going through those processes to navigate relationships, even in dating. As Mr. Collier said, he said, well, I'm going to Bible study. I said, well, me too. Come on. Come on, Cletus. I ain't scared. I ain't scared. But then, we laugh and joke, and so we find commonalities. But as everyone on the show knows the story, when he first saw me, he thought I was stuck up and snooty. I said, well, that's why you liked me. So, hey, you want the best, or someone who thinks they're the best. But that's our little running joke. But in relationships, you want someone who has value, who finds value in themselves, and you want who God sends for you.
Facts.
Like I said.
Facts. So you guys know that I'm probably a little selfish. Life's lessons teach you many of great things, but nothing can teach you the ultimate things that you need except for the one who created you. And I ain't talking about your parents. But this fruit of the spirit is love, joy, peace, forbearance, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Against such things, there is no law. If you want for your love, your life not to go sour, those fruits of the spirit, they're there as a guide. They're there to give you the instructions you need to live a long, happy, healthy life. But only you can walk into the fruits of the spirit. Nobody can bring you. It's some things that God does for us, but then it's other things that he says that we have to do for ourselves, like choosing to love. That's a free choice. I can choose to love, I can choose to hate, or I can choose to be angry. Which one are you going to choose to do? Well, it says that there's no gift greater on this earth than love. I agree with that. So if you don't want your love to go sour, what should you do, everyone, together? Choose love.
Choose love. Choose love.
Eddie, you locked?
Well, there you go. There you go, Hobart. There you go. Eddie, where's your...
I gotta make sure I do it right. I'll be forgetting how to do it. Hold on. There we
You know
go.
what? Don't play. Let me call Mrs. Hamilton up on the phone and see if you know how to do it across the room.
Hey, you guys. I everybody that know me know I don't speak idle words. Like, I do not say stuff just to say it. When God laid this in my spirit to talk about real life issues, like, I didn't have any doubt about who I wanted on my team. I wanted true believers in love and life and the pursuit of happiness, and that's what God gave me. And so I just want to say thank you guys. You guys are the absolute best panelists that someone can ask for to talk real life. And so with that being said, oh boy, next week, if y'all don't bring the popcorn next week, it ain't what it is. And I'm telling you, next week's show topic is gonna be a humdinger. So for next week's show topic, man, we at episode 6 already.
Wow.
Jeez Louise. So, sexuality. Sex has, sex is, or sex was. What is sex in today's world?
So you hop right from love to sex, huh? Not love making, not petting, not kissing, not hugging, not touching, just straight slip, slide, dive into sex.
I don't know what happened.
Salt and pepper. Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Hey, I'm
Hey,
telling
look,
my age.
look. This we're gonna ask for next week. Everybody be gentle.
Be gentle.
Be gentle.
Be gentle.
Can we be gentle next week? Next Sunday, 7 p.m.
7 p.m.
8 if you up north. 5 if you in the West Coast. Hey, let me tell y'all something. I absolutely love Sundays. Hey, let's do this. We haven't done this in a while. Hey, Eddie, come on, hit us with a final thought from tonight's show, real quick.
All right, I'm gonna say it real quick because you know my time that ran thin. I'll be in there with my wife.
That's right. Talking about love.
Yeah, I gotta go in there with my wife. But I mean, man, I think I'll piggyback off of you know what Mr. Albert said earlier, just about being honest. Just be honest, man, and really, it's not being honest with the other person, it's being honest with yourself. You know, I think that's harder than being honest with other people. Being honest with yourself, really and truly digging into yourself and speaking out, you know, your emotional state, what you're feeling, and not trying to beat around it. Just be straight up. If you pissed, just say, man, I'm pissed, and this is why. Or if you're happy, I'm happy, and this is why. You know, be honest. Be honest with yourself. And I think that once we can be honest with ourselves, then we'll be able to love externally, you know, to others. Because I mean, like I said, when I go back to the scripture and say, you know, a man, you know, I don't neglect my own body. That's what it said in Ephesians chapter 5. So I'm not going to neglect the person that I say I love, who's my wife, or in a relationship. I'm going to take a bath. I'm going to brush my teeth, hopefully. Some folks, everybody don't know. Supposed to do it every day. But ultimately, it's just, you know, just be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself. And then I think that once we're able to do that, we will be able to love others the way that they should be loved. So,
Alfred, final thoughts real quick for us.
Relationships. Yeah. My final thought on relationship is just being have a relationship with yourself first. Find out who you are, and then you'll be able to have a relationship with someone else. Thank you.
All right, Sissy.
Love is the greatest equalizer in that knowing that you must go to God and ask God what it is he has for you, because he will order your steps out. And understand you can't look to the left and to the right of what they doing over there or what they doing over there, because that's their plan, not your plan. Stay in your plan and keep your hand in the hand of the man that steals the waters. Love.
All right. Hey, y'all, again, man, thank y'all, everybody who joined the show, man. We are growing in leaps and bounds. Again, tonight we had new viewers. Thank you guys for viewing. Please like, please feel free to share the podcast.
Invite.
Invite, comment. Hey, we're just real life people who love life, and so with that being said, thank you guys for joining Life Off the Bench. Remember, get off the bench, get into the game.
peace.
Peace.
Peace.